Hello, neighbors. I thought I would take a break from the current series to talk a bit about why integrity is so critical for our election campaigns and why that sometimes means we need to fight against corruption. Integrity matters for all the usual reasons. You need public servants you can trust and that will prioritize their community. That is why I think it's a good thing that the stipends for city council are low. It is a part time job that is supposed to be basically volunteers to represent the community and make decisions on purely municipal matters. That is why it is structurally nonpartisan. And also why I think the current city council spending a truly enormous amount of time and energy to increase the stipend and add expensive health insurance is so deeply misguided. For the record, although these very expensive benefits are significantly better than what I currently have, I will not accept health insurance benefit as a matter of principle. Almost none of our neighbors get health insurance from a part time job, so I certainly can't tolerate their tax money being taken to provide top notch benefits for the part time roles of city council. And integrity also matters because of broader consequences. Extremism breeds extremism. If a frankly boring candidate like myself is slurred and attacked the way I have been, who's going to be willing to run in the future? Probably the kinds of people you don't want in office. My entire campaign is about local issues that are completely nonpartisan and universally understood: clean air, infrastructure, reasonable tax levels. Everything I stand for and everything I have said is on the record through these videos and from what I present in public forums and events. But I have people tracking my movements, crashing events to make a scene, censoring my messaging, and making up genuinely insane lies about things that are easily refuted by a basic search engine. I have no ties to oil and gas. I am a lifelong independent. I did not claim my opponent celebrated the recent violence, although I have asked her and her supporters to repudiate the national groups that have. And I could go on for literally hours. But one last thing: I am not a racist. The claim I am apparently comes from the idea that bring boring back is somehow a new code for returning to the 1920s, which is insane. I am tired of the circus our local politics has become, and we desperately need to act on the issues with our infrastructure and budgets that have been largely ignored by the current city council. Hence, bring boring back. The fact that I have black hair and skin a little darker than the average around here should also be a hint. Although I am of Southern European ancestry, I have personally experienced racism. As a small child, I learned the hard way about the racial slurs created for Italians, but actually, in most cases, what I experience is from someone assuming I am something else. My last name is Gobetti, and I look like Mario's long lost cousin. Short of walking around with a bottle of olive oil in one hand and a tomato in the other, I'm not entirely sure how this could be more obvious. But it doesn't matter. It just shows how idiotic racism is in general. Radio satire helped drive the downfall of the KKK, so we should never miss a chance to mock it. And I am not going to parade my minority friends, coworkers, and mentees to show my credentials. Although I am part of a multiracial couple, I will continue to keep my family out of the spotlight as a matter of basic decency. And on that note, let me tell you, Colorado is a safe and healthy place for multiracial couples, which is part of why we live here. I think celebrating the openness in your community doesn't diminish the very real experiences of others all over the world, but instead helps drive progress forward. My opponent likes to use people as props and puppets. I do not. And I'll share a story to make a point. Very early in my career, I was actively involved in programs supporting students from historically black colleges. I loved it, and the people I worked with were amazing. The point I would like to make is that I did not do this as a virtue signal or some sort of crusade. I did it simply because these were very good students receiving an excellent education, but who did not have access to the kind of research facilities I did. And I also just thought that HBCs themselves were fantastic institutions with a fascinating and noble history. That's it. So I have no interest in diminishing the personal agency of our minority neighbors. I am proud to support them and will do so the way I support all our neighbors by fighting for decent infrastructure, clean air, mental health, and reasonable taxes. And if I do see them under attack, I'll call it out like I did when I called out homophobic cyberbullying in my video As Broomfield Turns. Again, all of this is dangerous. If someone like me, who has dedicated his career to science and healthcare and just wants to solve issues with infrastructure and budgets, is attacked and harassed the way I have been, you close off the ability to run for the vast majority of people, including a lot of folks that are incredible and our city needs to be more civically engaged, not less. You alienate those, like myself, that are unaffiliated or otherwise in the middle. This can lead to consequences I hope we never see, which is part of why I stepped up to run. Most people don't have my experience, connections, skill set, and very thick skin. And I'll tell you, even with all that, it's been pretty discouraging at times. But I am encouraged by how much support I have received in the community, how many people are volunteering their time and working so hard to make some badly needed changes. Truly, thank you. And I will fight for my neighbors exactly as promised. So I will also continue to put out some very sharp statements about the corruption and bad behavior I see. Part of Bring Boring Back is making it safe for Broomfield residents to engage with their municipal government again. So I will unapologetically keep fighting for my town, but I will do so with specific statements and clear documentation of facts, because that is what basic integrity requires. If you are tired of the circus and want more integrity in office, you have your ballots. Vote now.